Welcome back, everybody. That's if you've clicked on the video when you've seen the title. This stuff is old school. So I've got so far behind my pickups, and I know a lot of people aren't interested in this really old school stuff. So I thought I'll try and bunch a lot of it together to kind of get it out of the way, really, because I'm never going to catch up. So it may go on a while, this. I'm going to try not to dwell on anything because there's loads to get through. But there's some cool stuff in my opinion. So I think to start off with, we'll do VHS. Now I'll go through phases with VHS. I'll pick up a few and then I won't buy any for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I have done this, over recent weeks. Anyway, first one we got, American Graffiti, classic 80s film, set in the 50s obviously. Kind of cool, sort of youth film I suppose, really. Next up, now this is a big box, we've got Psycho 3. This is a pain in the arse to get. You can't seem to get it on anything. It don't seem to have been re-released on anything from what I could make out. And I could only find it ex-rental as well, which I know some people prefer. I prefer the, the home releases because they're all the same size. However, I'm a massive Hitchcock fan, and this, Psycho, the first Psycho, amazing. The second one is also excellent. I watched that on, I changed the colour to black and white and it feels like almost the original. This one isn't as good, but it was made in the 80s, it's a lot more graphic. But I wanted it, so I've got it. 80s classic, never ending story. Awesome. Again, I've got visions of this from the 80s. Weird Science. I love these CIC boxes. Don't think that's aged that well, to be honest. I hadn't seen that since the 80s and not brilliant. Absolute classic. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Another stone cold 80s classic. Had to get Gremlins. Chuffed to have that, and that is still really, really good. And then this was the find of the sort of period, really. I was in a charity shop. I always look for VHS, I never find any. Then I stumbled across Footloose. But to my amazement, and I didn't know this until after I bought it, because normally I check them for mould, and for whatever reason I forgot to check this one. But anyway, I opened it up, and to my amazement, it wasn't VHS, it was Betamax. You can't get more 1980s than Footloose on Betamax, can you? Obviously I can't play it, but such a cool item to have. Over the moon with that. Anyway, that's all the VHS. I am after a few more 80s ones. I'm not going crazy because I haven't got much space to store it. Because I did make some more space in the garage, but I've ended up using that for games now, so I've got less VHS storage. So I'm after a few select 80s VHS now. Right. The mighty Spectrum. As I said in the previous pickups, only last week, I've got a new Spectrum area. I'm chuffed with where I've got it set up. It's the best I've had it since the 80s, so it's thrown me on a bit of a Spectrum binge in trying to get the final titles that I had back in the day or played that I've never rebought. And I'm nearly there now, but this is the first batch. First up, we've got Bosconian, which is a Namco arcade game. I didn't know it was an arcade at the time. When I first had it for the Specky. I've only found out it was an arcade in more recent years and played the arcade version, and then that reminded me I used to have it on the Specky. And it's not a bad game at all, and it's a good conversion on the Specky. CJ's Elephant Antics. Love Codemasters games. This is class. Platformer. Though I do admit, I had this on the C64 back in the day, and that's the best version really. But I had to get the Spectrum one. And then next up, we got Wheelie. I'd completely forgot about this, and somebody played this. I don't know if it was Paul, Stu's Retro Reviews, possibly, but somebody played this and I saw it. I don't know, somebody, anyway, and I thought, I remember that. Must look out for it. Finally managed to find it. Don't seem that common actually. Kind of a motorbike platform game, would you say? Next up, Frank Bruno's Boxing. I borrowed this off somebody back in the day and thought it was good. I'm not so convinced now. It's kind of like Punch Out really. But I have bought a few Elite games because I generally think Elite make cracking games on the Specky. Now this one, I had this, and for the life of me, since I've moved my Spectrum and reset it up, I can't find this game, so I had to buy it again. Because obviously it's one of the greatest games ever made, one of the greatest games on the Spectrum, and the greatest video game character ever made, Dizzy. And this is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's spectacular. Spectacular. All hail the mighty egg, David. Next up, I had this back in the day, Jungle Fever by A&F Software, which, are these the ones who made Chucky Egg? Anyway, I had this back in the day and I'd completely forgot about it. I was just looking through Spectrum on eBay. The cover popped up and I thought, bloody hell, I remember that. I used to have it. Couldn't remember what kind of game it was. I had a quick Google on, you know, some game footage. It's kind of like Pitfall. And it's really not bad. It's still quite good to play now. So that was a great surprise. Now I've been after this one for ages and ages. I bought a couple and they didn't work. I finally managed to get Mr. Wimpy. Again, and I had this back in the day. Really liked it. And again, this is still really good. It's quite tough. But it's kind of burger time really. With another sort of screen tagged onto it. But really good. Chuffed to have that. Mr. Wimpy. Then I definitely played this back in the day, but I can't remember if I owned it. These are a mixture of eBay and some were off Jason Retro Games as well. Anyway, we've got Operation Wolf. I do like the ocean boxes. I've said before that that's by far the best. This is a stellar conversion on the Specky. It's really, really good. And it still looks and plays fantastic. It's balls hard, honestly. I can't get off the first level. It is so hard, but it's magnificent. Then we've got two Specky left. These last two, again, I had both of these back in the day, and I've wanted to sort of get them back. The first one is Jailbreak. I love these Konami boxes on the Specky. They're just superb. This is kind of a walking kind of run and gun. Say you'd call it a run and gun. Kind of a side-on commando, I suppose, really. I still think it's quite good, to be honest. That was an arcade game. And then the last one, I really wanted this, purely because A, I had it back in the day, B, it's good, but C, for whatever reason, my initial Spectrum collection from when I was a kid got sold when I bought my Master System. For whatever reason, this game didn't get sold with it, and I can remember seen it in a wardrobe not that long ago. You know, maybe 7, 8, 10 years ago. I remember seeing it in a wardrobe at my parents' house, and sort of wondering, I wonder how that escaped not being sold or thrown out, and it was there. And at the time I hadn't got a Spectrum, so at that point I did throw it out. Really annoying, else I could have had my one original Spectrum game from my collection back in the day. To this day, had I not thrown it out like 7, 8 years ago. So I had to get it back. And it's Nemesis, another one of these spectacular Konami boxes, and it's obviously Gradius. I mean, just like the Gradius box artwork, it's an absolute stunner. And again, this is another great conversion on the Spectrum. So I'm chuffed to bits to have that back. Right. What should we go with next? As I say, this is all old school. So it was months ago now. This was before the Doncaster Game Market, which whenever that was in the summer. It was when I was on the Atari, sort of deep into the Atari rabbit hole, that sent me down other kind of offshoots. And I'm blaming Lee Tetley for this, really, because I love watching Lee's videos, and he always shows games that I've forgot about or I've never seen before, and I think to myself, that looks really good. Anyway, I ended up buying a Philips Videopac because of the games Lee had showed. So, thanks, mate. Anyway, I'm only joking. I don't regret it. If you've never seen a Videopac, it kind of looks like a typewriter. I haven't got the box handy, else I'll show it you. If I remember, I'll put a picture up. So of course, after I bought the Videopac, I needed games. So I've bought quite a few, so I'm just going to run through them all here, because most people obviously aren't interested in these. Because it is seriously old, you know, it's kind of more primitive than a 2600. However, there are some fantastic games on it, and the boxes are brilliant. There's no particular order, but all the boxes are the same. They're these like plastic cassette style boxes. Unfortunately, there's no side art or writing or anything. So I've just put my own labels on the end so I know what they are. Anyway, this is Stone Sling. Very basic game where you're sort of hurling bricks at your opponent like through what they're called trebuchets, isn't that? Anyway, Stone Sling. Next up, we've got Laser War. That should have, I don't know if I've put stickers on all mine. Anyway, there is a label on some. There you go. That's the only way you can tell. That should have like a card insert there, but many of them are missing. Anyway, beside the point. Laser War, really cool little shooter game. Then we've got Bowling, very primitive, and there is a basketball. I bought it for bowling. I mean, it's exceedingly primitive, but I like it from the kind of an historical point of view. This one is called Race. Very simple. This is and they're all numbered, obviously. This is the first game that come out for it. But this is actually really, really good. It's kind of like a top-down enduro, much like Grand Prix on the Atari, only it's vertical instead of horizontal. Honestly, this is really, really good. Some of these I've bought specifically, and others I've bought in bundles. So, you know, some of the games I'm not bothered about. But obviously, nobody's interested in them, so they're not worth selling. this is one I got in a bundle. It's called Battlefield. I don't remember much about that. Don't think it was my cup of tea. Now this one, number 33, Jumping Acrobats. This is kind of an Arkanoid style game. Not bad at all. Then this one we've got Dam Buster, which again is an Arkanoid style game, and this again is really, really good. Then we've got 22 Space Monsters, which is Space Invaders, again pretty good. And we've also got, I should have said that actually, they do come in different boxes. They come in these plastic style ones, but the earlier style are these cardboard ones, which obviously usually are a lot more battered. But I've ended up with 2 of these because, like I say, I've bought them in a bundle. But it's kind of nice to have both as a comparison. This is one of the best games on the system. 38, we've got Munchkin. Obviously it's a Pac-Man clone, but it's a great game in its own right. Electronic Billiards, not great really. 34 Satellite Attack, another decent shooting game. Again, one of the best games on the system. We've got the follow-up to Munchkin. This is KC Munchkin Crazy Chase, isn't it? Yeah, fantastic. Worth owning that machine for that, I would say. Then we've got 43, which is Pickaxe Pete. I will say that as the numbers go up, like as time went on, the later games are quite a bit more sophisticated than the earlier ones. This ain't a bad platformer actually. Then we've got 39, which is Freedom Fighters, and again that's a fun little shooter. And then the American version of the Videopac was called the Magnavox Odyssey. Such a cool name. I mean, it's got to be the greatest name for a console ever. And the box artwork on them, magnificent. And they all work. They're universal generally. I have bought one of these for the Magnavox Odyssey. They're the card style boxes, but it's just magnificent artwork. And this is the same game as, this is called Attack of the Time Lord. The PAL version isn't called that. What's that called? I forgot. I don't know. Can't remember. Anyway. And they're like in gatefold boxes. Really nice. But I felt I just wanted one of the Magnavox Odyssey card boxes, much like the PAL version of Space Invaders I've got, where I've got the plastic and the card boxes, but magnificent. Like I say, and that's my entire Videopac collection. There are 2 or 3 more I'm after. But I've also bought like an EverDrive for it now as well, so I'm in 2 minds whether to buy any more, to be honest, because I think there's only 1 or 2 that aren't on the EverDrive, so I might just buy them. I don't know. We'll see. If I buy any more, I'll throw them in pickups at some point. Right. Now, around the same time, this is again months ago, before Doncaster. I also, like I say, I was deep down the Atari rabbit hole, and that got me thinking about other things of a similar ilk. And I thought to myself, I've mentioned it before, I used to love Astro Smash on the Intellivision, and having sort of re-fell in love with the Atari, I regretted selling my Intellivision at that point, and I thought I'm going to have to buy another one because Astro Smash is so superb. So I looked around, and eventually I found a nice bundle, console and quite a few games, so I ended up buying it. I'm sure you've seen an Intellivision before. I don't know if it's down here. There we go. Such a 1970s looking item. think it was about 79 or something it came out. I mean, it's like wood grain and gold. I mean, it's like 1970s in a box. But it's a cool looking thing. The major setback is the fact the controllers are terrible. But there's nothing you can do about it because they're hardwired. So there's absolutely, you've got to use them. No alternative. So like I said, I bought one with quite a few games. I've since bought a few more games, the actual ones I want. But luckily the bundle I bought had got a lot of the games I wanted, because I'd had one before and I knew kind of what I wanted and what I didn't. So first of all, we've got Snafu, which is basically Snake, the old mobile phone game back from when you had a Nokia house brick phone. This is really, really good. Then next up, we've got Lock and Chase, which is kind of another Pac-Man style clown game. But I made a rule to myself with the Intellivision. I'm only buying these complete in box, purely because, in case you don't know, that's the cart and the manual, but they come with overlays for the controllers, and I didn't want all them loose, so I've made a point of only buying these complete in the box with the manual and with the overlay. So that's Lock and that is another good game. This one was with the bundle. I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. And we've got Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Not my cup of tea. That said, this one is one of the most valuable games on the system. So I don't know. I possibly might sell that one. But that's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Next up, this is another good game, Night Stalker. Kind of it's a little bit like Pac-Man in the sense it's a maze, but it's more like hunting down enemies really. Because you know, you've got a gun and you've got to sort of chase around the maze, killing enemies. Honestly, this is really, really good. Then next up, we've got Buzz Bombers. This, I've never had this before, and this was in the bundle, so I knew nothing about this. I tried it and it's really, really good. Shooter, single screen shooter. As you can see, you know, you're firing up at all these enemies. It's a great game, Buzz Bombers. Then we've got Donkey Kong. The classic was on most things at the time. Again, it's not a bad version. It's certainly better than the Atari. It's not as good as the ColecoVision. More on that to come in the future, I wonder, on this channel. Anyway, that's Donkey Kong. Then we've got the game I wanted the console for, Astro Smash. Honestly, if you've never played this game, do yourself a favour and play it. It's superb, but it's got to be the Intellivision version. I've played other versions and it's just not the same. It's just such a simple up the screen, single screen, up the screen shooter. All these asteroids are falling down to Earth and you're this craft at the bottom and you're basically shooting the asteroids. You haven't got to shoot them all, and the only thing you can't do is let them hit you. That will kill you. And then you get these kind of missiles that move faster at random periods, and they're harder to avoid at times. But honestly, a stunning game. Next up, Space Armada, and this basically is Space Invaders. Not bad at all. Then we've got Skiing, which is quite simplistic, but I do like this kind of thing. It's kind of like Horace Goes Skiing, really. Then next up, most of these are in the bundle, like I say. I've bought this one separately, and we've got Burger Time. Again, this is really not a bad version. So I'm chuffed to have that, because you can't beat Burger Time. Again, I've bought this one, Frog Bog. I didn't actually have this when I had my system before, but it was one I always wanted. And it's similar to a game on the 2600, which the name escapes me. But basically, you're frogs on these lily pads, and you've got to jump up at the right time to catch the flies. Really good. Right. Next up, in this bundle I bought, it also came with the Intellivoice, which is kind of a digitised voice sampler box which plugs into the back of the console, and they only ever made 4 games for it. None of the games particularly appeal to me, but the sample speech that it could create is super cool. Honestly, it's magnificent. And this bundle came with 2 games anyway of the 4, and we've got Tron Solar Sailor. Couldn't get my head around this at all when I tried this. I hadn't got a clue what was going on. And then we've got B-17 Bomber, which is kind of like a wartime strategical bombing game. Like I say, the games aren't for me, but the speech it's worth putting on just for 5 minutes to hear the thing talking. You know, it's brilliant. Right. We're nearly there. It also came with some Parker games. Now, obviously, the Parker games are superb on the Atari. They're in gold boxes on the Intellivision. So, I think these are even sexier. And we've got Cubit. I love Cubit. It's the wife's favourite game. Again, not a bad version. So nice. Parker boxes are amongst the best ever. Then we've also got Super Cobra, which is kind of Scramble, isn't it? And again, really not bad at all. It's a good system, the Intellivision, honestly. And then the last of the Parker games I've got is The Empire Strikes Back. This is kind of a Defender clone, and again, it's really quite good. And they're just like the Atari, you know. They come, I don't know if they come in, but they've obviously got gold stickers on the card. So I'm chuffed with that. And then, just like the Atari, you can get your Magic games as well, and it came with some of those as well. And we all know how sexy the Magic game boxes are. So first up, we've got Atlantis, which I've also got on the Atari. It's better on the Intellivision. I don't know if Atari ones have got a red stripe across the box. Intellivision have got blue, and I think there's yellow stripe on Videopac. Is it? You know, that kind of colour denotes what system they're for. Again, another single screen shooter. Really, really good. Again, another game I've got on the... Have I? I'm not sure I've got this on the Atari. I might have it cart only. Anyway, we've got Dragonfire. Look at the artwork on that. This is, again, this is better on the Intellivision as well. A really good, very unique style game, this really. It's really good, Dragonfire. This one I've bought separately. Beauty and the Beast. You can't get this on the Atari. I think it's Intellivision exclusive. Kind of a Donkey Kong clone, I suppose, really. Where you're climbing up the outside of this skyscraper. This is, again, this is really good. So again, but look at these boxes. That's just so sexy. Another one I have got on the Atari. And we've got Demon Attack. Again, Another beautiful box. I'm not sure, because this is really good on the Atari. I'm not sure. This is still good, but I think the Atari is better. But it's nice to have a comparison. And then the last one of Imagic, and the last Intellivision game I've got at the moment, and this one is Nova Blast. I can't remember what this one's like, to be honest. Not a clue. I don't remember playing this. I don't know if I've tried it. Kind of looks like an into the screen shooter. But again, another beautiful box. Nova Blast. So that's the current state of the Intellivision collection. Like I say, there's about 3 or 4, maybe 5 that I would like, but they're none of them common, unfortunately. And I'm not spending big money on Intellivision. You know, it's bonkers. You know, you can emulate it. So if I ever pick up any more, I don't know. But if I do, I'll obviously put them in pickups. Right. We'll finish off with a bit of Atari. And then first up, these are all cart only. I think this was from Old School Gaming. Old School Games from Old School Gaming. And we've got Exocet. Now this is quite rare, as I remember. Again, I can't remember what this is like. If I get time, I don't know if I will, I'll put some footage up. But I seem to remember thinking it was okay, not brilliant. But like I say, it is rare, so it's nice to have. Next up, I also got Night Stalker on the Atari, which is, like I said, like I've just said, it was on the Intellivision. This Atari version isn't as good, because obviously the Intellivision is a slightly later system than the Atari, so you would expect that to be a bit better, and it is. However, nice to have. Then this is another rare one. I think I bought this off eBay from memory, and I wasn't aware of this. I just saw it listed coming to an end, and I had a quick look at it and thought that looks interesting. I'll put a bid in, and I won it. And it's called Beanie Bopper. And this is really, really good. This is a single screen, again, shooter style game. Shame it's uncommon, really, because I like this that much. I would like the boxed one, but cracking game. Honestly, try this Beanie Bopper, really good. And then the last one is a 7800 game. There aren't many of these I want, but I had to pick up Pole Position 2 for obvious reasons. It's a racer. Had to get it. It's a bit of a player's copy, but it works in the 2600 plus, so that's all I was concerned about. Chuffed to have it. I don't think there's any more 7800 games I want, but you can't go wrong with Pole Position, can you? And there we are. That's a mad rush through some old school stuff I've been buying, and at least it's got me a bit further into pickups, and hopefully I'll be able to catch up at some point. But if there's anybody still watching, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on any of that lot, and leave the old thumb up and the comment. That's what this is all about. Without the comments, it's not worth doing. We're not in it for the money, are we, lads? And like I say, yeah, let me know what you think in the old comments, and I think the next pickup should be a bit more varied, rather than all old stuff. So hopefully see you soon. Thanks for watching. If you are still, sayonara.